Anwar is more close to the local pronunciation. And it's a really honor to have him to listen a lecture, a special lecture. So first, I'd like to introduce the president of SNU, and he will give some welcoming remarks. Okay, welcome the president of
Good afternoon, everyone, especially distinguished Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. It is with great pride and excitement that I welcome you, Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, to Seoul National University, the Center of Higher Education and Research in Korea. Your presence here today is a momentous occasion, not just for our university, but also for the enduring friendship between Korea and Malaysia, which celebrates 64 years of diplomatic ties this year. Prime Minister Anwar, your remarkable journey as a statesman and visionary leader has been an inspiration across Asia. Your unwavering commitment to justice, democracy, and integrity has left an indelible mark on Malaysia and the region. Moreover, your vision of an Asian Renaissance, as articulated in your influential book, resonates deeply with the values we hold at Seoul National University. Values of mutual respect, cultural exchange, and regional cooperation. The ties between Korea and Malaysia exemplify the spirit of collaboration. Our partnership spans politics, economics, and culture, enriching both nations and contributing to a shared prosperity. At Seoul National University, we are especially proud of the academic bridges we have built with Malaysia. Currently, we have 11 active academic agreements with Malaysian universities, fostering vibrant exchanges of knowledge and ideas. Over the last decade, 71 Malaysian students have chosen Seoul National University for their education, with 21 students currently enrolled, adding to the diversity and intellectual richness of our campus. These connections highlight the power of education in bringing our two nations closer together, nurturing leaders who will drive future innovations and strengthen our shared aspirations. Prime Minister, your visit today reaffirms the importance of collaboration between our countries and universities. It is a great privilege to host you as you share your insights with our community, inspiring us to think boldly about Asia's future. We deeply value your vision and leadership and look forward to continuing this meaningful partnership. Thank you and welcome once again to Seoul National University.
Actually, we had a lot of people who wanna participate in this meeting, and so we asked them to participate in online. So we sent them the link. So there are more than 100 people are now listening. I think it's growing. And sorry, you don't have a seat, at the moment. But I believe the Prime Minister's lecture deserve it. I first met him 20 years ago, and we had a good memory. And what I still remember is, wow, this is a really, really smart, intelligent, politician I have ever met. So I'm also expecting today's lecture a lot. But because of time limits, Prime Minister will give a little bit short one, and then we'll have 2 or 3 questions, and then finish this lecture. Prime Minister, please.
Thank you very much, Kamsahamnida, to President Nong Lim Yu and the staff. And it's a real honor for us and for Malaysia to be given the opportunity to address this university, very known for its impeccable academic achievements and innovation in terms of new disciplines, and not to ignore the importance of this being seat of student activism and demand for reform and democracy in Korea. And I had a short session with the president and also heads of Institute of Future Strategies, Social Science, Asian Studies. And it is a remarkable feat for this university to set up a special institute for future strategies. And incidentally, I was proposing to one of our universities, Islamic University, to set up Institute of Future Studies, so they will be able to collaborate. But that only displays, President, the spectacular success and level of expertise and formidable task that you have in not only retaining that academic excellence, but to continue to rethink about the future of education and to introduce new disciplines that was never considered in the past. I mean, future strategies was never a discipline that was generally popular or taught in universities, and therefore I am certainly looking forward to the further collaboration in this field. Now, I'm looking at this session, probably I wouldn't be tempted to read too much of my text, but may I say that, as I told President Yoon yesterday during our meeting and over lunch, that the relations between Malaysia and Korea has spanned for more than 6 decades. And we are fortunate because this is one of the few countries we do not have any issues or controversy. And we have benefited immensely. Every time you talk about the Penang Bridge, where I come from, or the Twin Tower, or the TRX, is Korean construction. You see, so it's a major propaganda for Korea. But it was very, to me, extremely touching remark by President Yoon yesterday, when he said that in the initial period of reconstruction of Korea, after decades of upheaval and difficulties of battles and civil war, it was the small Malaya then, Malaysia, that decided to support, in a small way, for a newly independent emerging nation, to support Korea by helping to build a small bridge, which is now known as the Malaysia Bridge. Now, it was touching to me in the sense that for a great economy and successful industrial and technological development achieved in this country, to have a president to be able to have the humility to acknowledge, yes, this is probably a different time, but then there was an occasion that we were in great difficulty. There was this Malaysia, a true friend of Korea. And that is why I think we look forward to further collaboration, and I believe the President would certainly support, not only in terms of the MOUs and the collaboration, but a more substantive learning curve discussion, including on digital and AI, to be able to benefit from one another. And I think in certain fields of academic achievement, certainly we can benefit more from Korea. Well, Nobel laureate for literature Han Kang, quite controversial here, but is a great writer nonetheless. In her magnum opus, Human X, I want to quote here about her unfiltered acceleration of compassion and empathy, which she remarked in her recent interview, Liberating from Fear. The last line of defense by which human beings can remain human is the complete and true perception of another's suffering. Now, we did make some reference to the philosophy of education. We need to master new subjects, challenges, disciplines, including AI and digital, energy transition, and uncertainties in the world. I mean, here is a scholar of political science. I wouldn't want to challenge him on the subject. It is his field of expertise and competence. But there are new challenges, geopolitical, uncertainties. As I always remark about the challenges of post-normal times. What is it? It's chaotic. The post-normal times means we are living in very chaotic times. No, it's not only chaos, but it is complex, what you call complexities. Is some peculiar experience, oftentimes unknown prior to this, but these are areas that we have to grapple with. So we have chaos, we have complexities, and we have contradictions. People who promote democracy are the most undemocratic. People who talk human rights are trampling human rights every day. People who talk about fair trade are promoting protectionism. So it's a complex world. And civil wars everywhere, uncertainties in the Russia-Ukraine war, the devastation, dehumanization as a result of the total abandonment of moral precepts and values, as you have seen in the Israeli war and aggression in Palestine and Gaza. My question is, of course, these are all happening simultaneously. It's not a question of pockets of areas. You look at the world is in a mess. That is why I have lots of confidence and hope for the students and for the young to appreciate certain issues beyond what we now understand and comprehend. We want to be good engineers, good political scientists, good technologies, good in AI, but we should not allow ourselves to be to excel in these disciplines, but lose our humanity. So again, this university have introduced the transdisciplinary foundation studies, whatever you call it, innovation, which to my mind is even remarkable. We talk about multidisciplinary, we talk about foundational studies and some universities in the West at the time when the corporate world have lost ethical values, a lot of floundering and malfeasance, and so they introduced ethics as a discipline, very popular in the 80s, but still we have lost ethics. So you have now started, and I've asked the professor to probably send me so that I can also benefit from the experience here. But what have we lost? We have lost humanity. There is distrust, there is deficit in political leadership and economic policymakers and policymakers, even in academia, because we excel in certain fields, but we have lost our humanity. There's no compassion. There is no ethical values and humanitarian considerations. So when we refer to subjects as elaborate, being wanting to be strategic partners and in terms of ASEAN and APEC and the region, to me what is fundamental is humanity. Why do you talk about governance or politics? How is it that we can talk about a cohesive, united ASEAN if we lose this essence of humanity, compassion, and humanitarian values? I made a slight reference to the whole issue being debated in the West. First, of course, in the social science, debunked because the traditional Western social sciences is essentially a Western paradigm. What is modern, there's nothing modern before the West appear, according to them. Do we then accept that? No, certainly not. There's no education, there's no literacy to them because it is not education and literacy as they comprehend and understand. So we have to change. You mean to say the Korean civilization having the capacity and technology and fantastic strategy warfare that can defeat the greater powers among your neighbors is without technology? Certainly with technology. But there's a traditional technology that you understand and comprehend and we accept, although of a different period and time. And so we give value to what we mean by success and technology or knowledge or science. That's why when Huntington popularized his Clash of Civilization, Samuel Huntington, and then followed by Fukuyama, Francis Fukuyama, and his the supremacy of Western liberal democracy. Although Fukuyama, Prof, has shifted a bit. I was with him at Science in DC. Some years later, when he Berkeley, University of Berkeley, I was invited to give a lecture and he was there. But then I think he has shifted from that clash of civilization or Western liberal democracy to be more accommodative with the fact that it is a more complex, pluralistic world. And he made reference to what is the requirement at present, whether you're in the East or the West, whether you are Muslim or Buddhist or Christian, there must be accountability. Even in a democracy, it is not about elections, but it is about democratic accountability. You may win elections, but the system can be terribly corrupt. You can win elections and have fair and free elections, but there is no accountability when it comes to the issues of governance and economic policy. So I made reference in our discussion about reference to Edward Said's short but classic piece to refute and debunk this essentially an arrogant, condescending Western perception of what civilization is all about clash of civilization, because we are different. When he said that it's not a clash of civilization, it's a clash of ignorance. You ask them, there is hardly any understanding. Say, for example, Korean history, culture, civilization. But they come to a conclusion that they are superior. Similarly, when you talk about Islam, there's hardly any understanding, except probably the dress code or some terrorist cell somewhere. But they conclude based on their set of values. That's why when we talk about strategic partners, it must be meaningful so that we don't repeat this condescending view of a clash of ignorance. That's why the partnership must be built on a clear conception, a compelling raison d'être that speaks for aspirations of both. If you talk about ASEAN, then must be aspirations of Malaysia and Indonesia and Thailand and Singapore and Vietnam and the Philippines. Okay? It cannot be one bigger power to dictate and compel. If you talk about APEC, or you talk of Malaysia, Korea, or China, Japan, whatever, must be that sort of views. So I believe that we have enough voice, what we consider as voice of conscience, to understand that when we talk about partnership, we're not talking about an elite formulation. See, the problem of having an elite formulation means you talk about what the business interests and profitability of this, which is a consideration. I don't think we can deny. Some businessmen doesn't seem to happy with this remark, but it's the truth. The elite consideration is not purely of benefit to the small coterie of people. So when you talk about partnership, it's a partnership to improve, to excel, to succeed. So we have to deal with the issues of poverty, abject poverty, marginalization, be it in the urban, urban poor, or the rural folks, or the rural heartland, or the minorities, or the majority population, but you have the underclass. So it must be truly representative. Then it gives meaning to what is justice. Even when you deal with AI, what is concern? We have enough problems about gross between the compelling about digitalization. In ASEAN, we say about energy grid. You must always take into consideration whether these powerful measures, major infrastructure, benefit the vast of people. How do you take pride in such advancement? Some countries having an advancement, and as opposed to the 90%. Or you have, or to be considered one of the richest countries of the world, but you have people lingering around without proper education or how. So let us therefore have this strategic partnership that deal with the challenges you call about transdisciplinary studies, be mindful that any new innovation or strategies or policies must not negate the demands of humanity. So I have no difficulty with the position on Myanmar. Persistent. They must respect human beings. Doesn't matter from which community, which religion or ethnic group. So a very consistent, coherent message. When they say they compare it about Gaza, Ukraine, it's interesting. In Ukraine, we are supposed to condemn Russians for the aggression and invasion of Ukraine. But when you talk about Gaza, it's 7th October. So the 5-6 decades of colonization, of dispossession, of killing babies and women is irrelevant. The first question you go ask any or most Western media personnel, they will say 7th October, Hamas provoke. And why? What is critical studies? What do we study in the universities? You mean to say, yes, 7th October 2023. What happened about 7th October 2022, 2020, 1990, 1940, 47? Long before Hamas and Hezbollah were formed, they were colonized. So that is why I think there's always a problem of imposition of knowledge without critical thinking. So when I hear that the President mentioned in the transnational studies, a transdisciplinary approach, critical thinking is important. Because otherwise, we talk about education and knowledge, but lacking wisdom. So let me, I think, end here. I didn't touch too much about the inclusivity and sustainability of ASEAN, because you are smart students, and these terms are being used all the time, so I wouldn't bore you with this typical Prime Minister's lecture. So well, I mean, I must make a reference because I'm in Korea. People ask me about the North Korean challenge, or to me, it doesn't. I mean, whatever power, ballistic missiles, nuclear they want to have for themselves, I mean, there's a different issue deemed to be provocative. We condemn the position. We condemn the provocation because it is inconsistent with the values, not only what we accept, but humanitarian values, peace, stability in the region. Because it is disrupting the whole process. The whole region is in uncertainty. In Malaysia, I happen to be Minister of Finance, our highest budget allocation is for education. Number 2, for public health. But I happen to have neighbors, like I'm in the Middle East, so here, my number 1 allocation has got to be defense. Because without peace and security, we can focus on education in other fields. So critical thinking is required. Let me end here and invite you to ask easy questions. The difficult questions will be answered by the President. Okay, I'll hold the floor here. You don't mind. I'll deal with this. Yes, please.
we have a lot of questions, but because of the Prime Minister's tight schedule,
Yeah, man, I give
we chose, you know,
a bit injury time. I give it's all right.
Okay, thank you. Then first, the Professor Kim Hyung-jung from Yonsei University. He's a Malaysian a specialist, so I'd like to ask him the first question.
He's a specialist. Why do you ask a specialist? I'm not a specialist. So
I'm actually very general, not so special. Yang baru hormat Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, so it's very honored to see you. So let me show you, if allowed, one picture. So I took in September 1998.
Oh dear.
Yeah. I think it's too far to see, but right. So. Yeah, so I was backpacker in the Datarang Merideka. So accidentally, I followed the crowd in the protest. Those were chanting for free Anwar and reformation. Right, so it's very glad to see you, and I think that you are now free, and also you can make a lot more people freer from being threat to many ways, I think, as you mentioned, that to protect the humanity values and so on. So let me ask one thing, very easy question. So I heard that you have mentioned that the possible inclusion of the China in the Malaysia's Look-East policy. So it reminds me of that kind of that heydays of the East Asian community and cooperation, in which Malaysia and Korea have played very important role. So in your opinion, how Malaysia and Korea can cooperate in line with the East Asia community vision? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Kim. Good. I'm really touched and honored that you were there to support. I could not join him because I was already inside. But you know, I think God in His wisdom inflicted upon you has not benefited humanity. So you have to endure, yes. Was it difficult? Yes. More so for my wife Aziza and the family, but I think we have to move on to understand the value of freedom, value of justice, and humanity. There's no reason why in these days and age should treat human beings that manner. So that has taught me a great lesson. I mean, of course, a difficult experience, but I think gives me a stronger drive to prove that we can manage our affairs in a And I'm pleased that there is now a joint effort, both by both governments and leaders, to want to ensure that it goes advance, and we will of course complete the process, including completing the FTA Korea Malaysia FTA, hopefully by early next year. Why do we expand to East Asia? Because we should benefit. I mean, I maintain the need to continue having excellent relations with Korea, with Japan, with China. And the more we engage based on true friendship and trust, the more we're able to deal with the more complex issues. Malaysia is fortunate because it is an important trading nation. As you know, cumulatively, the United States is one of the main investors into Malaysia. All the huge Oracle and AWS and Google and Microsoft and NVIDIA or Infineon from Germany, all in Malaysia. Many of these companies have taken Malaysia as a regional center for these activities, data center and AI. Malaysia is now becoming a hub for semiconductor. So our advantage, of course, economically to engage with all countries, United States, Europe, China, and of course, Korea and Japan. So, but they are peculiar importance. Like why then ASEAN? Because ASEAN happens to be one of the most peaceful regions in the world, number one. Number two, one of the most dynamic economic regions in the world. And the collaboration and the working relations between ASEAN leaders are excellent. I mean, I can just call any leader at any time, and they treat us as real friends, trusted friends. What is lacking is, of course, intra-ASEAN trade, intra-ASEAN investments, and a more vibrant and economic activity. And that is why when I assume the leadership, chairmanship of ASEAN next year, I will focus on, for example, ASEAN energy grid, common digitalization, intra-ASEAN trade, and intra-ASEAN investment. And having that said, then we will work with China, Japan, and Korea. And Korea is a very important traditional ally. They have done enormously well and known to every single household, not through the Twin Tower, but through the K-pop and the drama. And the drama will end with everybody crying at the end. So always a tragedy. And which means I've watched one or two. Yeah. Right, next question. Yeah.
Next question is from Malaysian student, Ardina Azara binti Jaswan. Sorry if my pronunciation is incorrect.
Yes.
Okay, from Korea University. Okay.
Yeah, so hi, Mr. Prime Minister. I'm Dina. I'm a final year student in computer science and engineering. So my questions to you is that, are there plans to create joint research programs between Malaysia, South Korea, and Asian university that would provide Asian youth opportunities to work in advanced technology, such as AI, renewable energy, and robotics? And how can such initiatives foster innovation and regional collaboration? Thank you.
Why don't you write to me a short essay and give me... No, all right. In fact, my discussion with the president, we did touch on this subject. It's not only general collaboration, but substantive work, which means joint research, sending scholars to be attached here, other than this general students exchange. I agree with you, it's important. Because I asked, for example, people like Jensen of NVIDIA, in AI, in Google, what are our concerns? I mean, our concern, I told him, what our concerns, of course, first, the digital divide. Second is the values. You are imposing a full set of values. You ask AI or ChatGPT, and they will be able to then forward an answer according to what they have assimilated. So it is important then, therefore, to train our own experts the young, to be able to give the desired input. So that there is also a consideration. The culture does not mean only Hollywood, but also K-pop, for example. It's not a good example, but then, but which means also religion, not only Western Christianity, but also other religions, Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam. And how do you do it? By getting our experts to then give an input so that it is a human approach. But you must have that expertise. So there's no question about, having all the centers in Malaysia, all right, without upskilling, without having our engineers and experts mastering the subject. So it's a major challenge. The entire education system needs to be reformed. So whilst we have Bahasa Malaysia as a lingua franca and also medium of instruction, I've then compelled the Ministry of Education to then enhance the level of proficiency of the English language in all our schools. Okay? It is not a zero-sum game. Some, of course, making issues here, Anwar suddenly now promoting English, forgetting Bahasa. It's not true. Bahasa is still important, but then we will have to then introduce English, and not only just English, but level of proficiency, which is critical. Then the other subjects. So it's a major challenge. I think here you have this transdisciplinary. Initially we talk about multidisciplinary because it's important. How do you get an engineer who knows nothing about finance? The financial challenge of the world is so critical. How do you get a professor of religion who knows nothing about AI? So it is a challenge to the formulators of policies, including education. Bye.
Okay. Sorry.
Thanks, yes.
Sorry. Okay. It's done?
Yes.
Okay. The third question is from SNU student La Donggan.
Yes.
Okay.
Hello, Prime Minister. It's a really great honor to meet you. My name is Donggan Ra, and I'm currently a sophomore majoring political science in Seoul National University.
Then ask the president.
Yeah, right. Yeah. As a student majoring in political science, I have a great interest toward foreign policies of Malaysia. So it seems that the US presidential election has been a hot topic worldwide, and I think it is not an exception for ASEAN countries where the concept of ASEAN centrality was considered super important. So if President Trump's foreign policy takes a tougher stance toward China, it would disrupt the balance of power and lead a loss of leverage of ASEAN countries. So if ASEAN's negotiating power weakens, could this reduce individual member states' incentive to engage more active in ASEAN community? So regarding the future cohesion of ASEAN during the Trump era, how can Malaysia challenge and address these problems as the ASEAN chair country in 2025? And thank you.
Why are you so worried about Trump? I think things are going to be all right. President Donald Trump has been known to take certain position, particularly his tariffs towards China, and the ramifications will be throughout the region and also internationally because of the huge investments and trade that China has with many countries, including Korea, Malaysia, and all ASEAN countries. Firstly, I hope for the best, which means there is that possibility that there will be a shift. Finally, a policy must be formulated to protect the interests of their own countries. And I believe that ultimately, any protectionist, over-protectionist tendencies will not help your national economy. That's what I learned about economics. So hopefully that can be done. Then you say, what about the worst-case scenario? Well, that's for the Institute of Strategic Studies or future strategies to consider. But I think for now, the strength of many of these regional, sub-regional economies are far more stronger than ever before, which means they can navigate, although it will slow down a bit for some time, you see. And that's why I mentioned about collaboration within ASEAN, the need for inter-ASEAN trade, the need to use sometimes local currency in trade. Like, for example, with China, it's 1 trillion, our trade. But we say 20% in local currency is 200 million. It's huge. And with India, we have done butter trade. We have some contracts, and we sell palm oil, and it's butter. But that will reduce the impact, particularly the dependency of the dollar, or it's not de-dollarization. Since America is a big concern, why Anwar is promoting, it's not de-dollarization, it's just our economic survival, you see, not to be dependent on a currency that sometimes do not reflect the strength of our economy. So let's hope for the best. And I will wish, of course, I have written a congratulatory letter to President Trump. Thank you.
Okay, the last question is from the Zaid Ali bin Muhammad Junaidi. Okay.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Salam.
First of all, I would like to say excellent lecture. I do definitely agree empathy plays a really big role in unity. Anyways, my name is Zayed. I am currently studying renewable energy with a focus of hydrogen energy. And also as a Sarawakian, I feel like it is relevant for me to ask this question. With regards to Malaysia's National Energy Transition Roadmap, the NETR, and Sarawak's recent advancements in hydrogen energy, how does your administration plan to further scale up Sarawak's hydrogen energy development and integrate it into Malaysia's broader energy strategy? Does Malaysia also look to position itself as a competitive leader in hydrogen energy on a global scale? And then last, what are the current challenges Malaysia faces into transitioning towards renewable energy, especially in balancing economic growth with sustainability? Thank you.
Why do you ask difficult questions?
I'm so sorry.
No. Okay, I'm glad that you have followed this the energy transition roadmap, because firstly we have to accept the fact that for the sake of humanity at large, this transition has to happen. But you know, there must be a proper plan, a shift. And in terms of renewable energy or alternative energy, Sarawak has, for example, huge potential. And we strongly endorse, in my discussions with Samsung, Hyundai, and some other companies, even here, we promote the capacity that the need to support the Sarawak initiative, which is part of our national energy transition roadmap. How do you do it? Well, firstly, by supporting all the research, including by Petronas, like green hydrogen, ammonia. Then to support the pipeline of export from Sarawak to Sabah and to Kalimantan, particularly the new capital. And now we have supported the joint collaboration between Sarawak and Semenanjung to have an undersea cable so that the access of energy, alternative energy from Sarawak is being sent to Semenanjung. And from Semenanjung, we have that energy grid. Okay? Boleh lah, tahan. I think he just wanted to test me.
Okay. Thank you so much. I think, I selected and many questions overlapped. And so I know, you want to hear more, but he has a schedule. He had to catch a plane tonight. So I think, can you give him a big applause?
No. Just before that, my flight is not tonight. I'm going straight from here to the airport. But again, I want to take this opportunity to thank the President and the University for giving me the honor and privilege, and for my members of the delegation. I think it would be proper for me to take this opportunity to also introduce some key members of the Malaysian cabinet who are present here. We have the Foreign Minister, Muhammad Hassan. We have the MITI, Investment, Trade, Tuku Zafrul. And then we have Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, Chandikang. And we have National Unity Minister, Arudan Anagang. See, this just happens, this is coincidence. Look, in Malaysia, you have two Malays who come from different states. And then we have one Chinese from another state. And we have one Sarawakian, you see, and we have Muslim, we have Buddhist, we have Christian. But we work together as a team. And that augurs well for the future of our country. Why hate, why then promote racial division, hatred, and religious dissension, when we can use this huge, enormous potential to strengthen and to build a better Malaysia for all. Thank you. Terima kasih.
I'm happy to hear, first of all, the Prime Minister's address is the philosophy of my institute today, the humanity and other things. And second thing is, personally, we met around 20 years ago with the former President Kim Dae-jung, and I introduced him to him. And the second time, I hope we can have an opportunity to see him one more time soon, as soon as possible. So thank you so much for attending all the lectures. And then, first of all, we'd like to have a picture with the Korean professor, and then the staffs from the Malaysian administrative. And then secondly, we'll have a picture with, the Prime Minister will take a picture with the Malaysian student. Okay? And third thing is, but quickly, he has catch a plane again. And the third one is, just the others, anyone except who already took the picture, we can take a picture. But we have to hurry up, okay?